projects all in the same year.
Jeez Louise.
That was a big year for her.
She needed Minotaur. I do love that coffee scene. I think when I knew I kind of loved the movie when he's complaining about Venti. And then she's like, Venti is 20. It's 20 ounces. And
that's why it's called Venti.
And then you just watch Paul Rudd deflate. He was a balloon that was popped. And he just was like, oh my gosh. Oh man, I love that scene. And I think that showed him well. Like he wasn't even trying anymore. He was just complaining.
And I think his character kind of just, he was at that point where he was just too comfortable with his girlfriend, Beth. And she was like, look, your life is not going anywhere. You have no desire to go anywhere. You're okay with where it is right now. And that's it. And she's like, I cannot deal with this anymore. So she leaves, which is, good. And
she leaves in the crock pot because he likes chili.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I'm a chili man myself. As my girlfriend that I co-host my podcast with, Classic American Movies, will tell you, I am a frequent chili man.
And you have a shirt on set that you used to wear, and you used to go scooping around the crafty areas, and you used to go when we had lunch, you'd be like digging through the chili.
Well, actually, man. I think you're misremembering. I had a hat with a clock on it, and it said time for chili, and I'd say, hey Mark, what time is it?
Time for chili.
It's time for chili, Chris. Yeah. What time is it? It's time for chili, Chris. I get it.
Remember that one time you came on the set with a big ceramic bowl and just a ladle, and you were just scooping chili in your mouth in the middle of getting 100 extras ready. No one knew what you were saying because you were eating chili the whole time.
I had chili on one side, coffee on the other, and I was ready to go. I was full of beans and full of caffeine.
That's become a thing of legend. You got 100 extras ready in 13 minutes.
That's why they call me Beans and Caffeine Kelly. It's the
Beans and Caffeine Kelly. Beans and Caffeine Kelly. Chris Kelly. Who's that?
And then I come in on my Minotaur. As soon as
See, I called you Chris Coffee and Beans Kelly.
Yeah. See, but that's where you got it wrong. It was beans and coffee and beans. That was the other guy. See, that's.
Oh, because I could be saying coffee beans, not coffee and beans.
See, there you go. That's why people were confused, Mark. I mean, it's just common sense.
How many beans do you put in your chili?
I'd say about 237.
Wow.
And
different
I
variations?
Say that,
do you use 2 or 3 different types?
Oh, well, that's just ridiculous. Of course you do. I mean, you got to have your pinto beans, you got to have your kidney beans, and you got to have your red beans.
What about black beans?
That depends. Sometimes, because they'll add a little bit more of a different taste to your chili. So I'll do that only if I want to leave out some pinto beans or kidney beans.
What about jelly beans?
That's more of a pizza thing.
Do you put lima beans in stew?
That's if I have celery.
That's a good point.
See, because you got to balance the acidity with the fiber. If you don't, then you're in a whole world of more tomatoes, less tomatoes, canned tomatoes, or fresh tomatoes. Always.
Yeah. What about baked beans?
Baked beans. Baked beans, I'm not really big fan of putting into chili because they liquefy, and then that just makes your chili just a little bit more harder. I prefer to just put a little bit of flour in my chili.
Chris Kelly, someone comes up to you and says, I will give you $5,000 to do a bean and coffee blend, and you have to drink it in front of us. Which bean and which coffee would you mix together for $5,000?
It's going to be a dark roast mixed with kidney beans.
How come?
Because that would add a little layer. It would take away the acidity from the coffee and pad it for for a little bit of a smoother taste. So it would be almost like similar to getting a medium roast, but you would just it'd be a harder way and more impractical way to create a medium roast.
What kind of cup would you drink it out of?
Well, I use my Panavision cup that I got from working on set or my Hank Williams Jr. cup.
I did a job one time. It was like 18-hour days. It was a pilot. 18-hour days just for like 3 weeks. And then they gave me a water bottle that didn't even have the anything on it. I gave you a wrap gift, and they handed me a water bottle. And
you think that's bad? As a wrap gift one time, I got a towel from Walmart.
Whoa. Now, here's the thing. I wasn't expecting a wrap gift, so if they gave me nothing, it's a pilot. You don't really get a wrap gift. But the fact that they just thought we need to give him something, so yeah, give him a water bottle. And I just went, just give me nothing. It's a pilot. It's fine. This isn't a 6-month Marvel job where you get a jacket. Or a sweater. This is a pilot. I don't want to. Okay, cool.
To be honest, just recently I got rid of a bunch of water bottles that I've collected over the years of working on set. Because as anybody will tell you that works in film, you'll get a water bottle almost on every production that you work on. So I had I had an entire cupboard in my condo dedicated to these water bottles. And I was like, I only use maybe like 3 of these because I'll use one in the summertime that's has a metal lining. And then I'll use the regular plastic one during the cooler months.
That's
a
lot of Chris Kelly. Last time I saw you, you had a water bottle thing around your waist and you had all the names of the movies painted out. Like, so when people run, they put those little water bottles. You had them all around you and you were holding 2 to make sure everyone sees the label. You had a movie hat. You had a movie shirt that you got, and then you had a jacket on, too. And you were holding call sheets.
And your shoes said...
You had the Hunger Games hat with the gotcha that was on it. You were wearing those, and you're like, oh, funny you ask. I worked on this movie, guys.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if it was obvious or not, but I work on film sets.
I wasn't fishing. Chris Kelly lying on the MFF podcast. What do you think they did? What do you think the rap gift on Role Model?
They probably got a Minotaur.
A real one?
I think they probably did.
Yeah.
My guess is they definitely had a hat. They probably definitely got a hat.
Oh, yeah. That said rub-a-dub-dub.
You know what's interesting about that line? That line said by the wonderful Joe Lo Truglio playing Kuzik.
Kuzik. Huzzah!
If anyone gets a chance to watch the DVD or the Blu-ray, I strongly recommend checking out the special features, especially the fake stories. They're fake interviews that they give with the characters. And Joe Lo Truglio gives quite possibly the funniest performance I've ever seen as Kuzik. And he talks about this so much because they introduce him like, and you're Kuzik? And he goes, it's Kuzik. He goes on about his character for like 5 minutes. And he is one of the greatest improv people, I think, in modern times. His character, his character in this movie almost was all 100% improv. And his line, it said on IMDb that there was an improv line that made Paul Rudd pee himself. And in the bloopers, you get to see that it's whenever Joe Lo Truglio, he said one of his bajillion lines that were improv. He just goes rub-a-dub. It's so hysterical. And all of his lines are, well, not all of them, but the majority of them are improv. There's just, David Wain said that he wanted to just make sure he had an idea of what to say. And then he left everything up to Joe. And he was phenomenal. Like, he told him that scene where they're walking through while everybody's practicing battle, said that they just put a camera on him and said for 10 minutes, just say whatever. And it's all gold.
Solid gold. And Paul Rudd even said he peed. He's like, I peed. So that's not even conjecture on the thing. Paul Rudd, he was dying laughing. He looked unhealthy because of rub-a-dub-dub.
He just tried to do his line, and he's like, I'm sorry, I can't do it. This is just too much.
Rub-a-dub-dub. Looking great today, Esplin. Oh, sharpening that sword. Great job. Oh, it makes me so happy. And I did feel bad. So, Chris, you've been in shows before. We've both been in shows before where you've been like a super featured extra. I know people who have been super featured extras before. And so they do the entire project. They're there every day and they're getting extra rates. And in this movie, so King Argatron, played by Ken Jeong, and his right-hand man, David of Glen Kraken, played by Matt Walsh, who's awesome in Veep. They're the kings of this whole LARPing community that they have, this live-action role-playing. But with them, they actually have all their names, too. Here, let me find their names. So they have these extras that are with them at all times. In the commentary, David Wain says, I probably should have given them a line. Like, we had a budget for it.
Yeah, and he says he felt bad about that. But no, you were saying? They
had Captain Ron, Foo Fighter, Prince Emo, and then it was Argatron and David of Glen Kraken. They were the Fearsome Five. But those 3 guys' names were Captain Ron, Foo Fighter, and Prince Emo. And they feed him at the burger hole. Oh, that was really funny. It was the burger hole, right?
It was originally supposed to be the burger and brownie hole, but the prop department thought that he was making that up.
And he got so mad. That makes me so happy.
But I like how in the extended version, in the extended scenes, you see that Ken Jeong, he's kind of a jerk to the waitress.
Yeah.
But I didn't like that because it didn't seem very fitting for his character, because whenever she brings up the coffee, he says, how many years have I been coming here? You know that it's decaf, you wench. And in the version that we see, I really like how he's giving it to Danny, and he's like, huh, you think that Augie is going to be welcomed back into our community. Then the waitress comes by and he's like, oh, decaf, please. Thank you.
Yeah, that was the best. That was the funniest. Yeah, I didn't like, he was like,
so
I have an anger problem. I didn't like him doing that. And I liked it when David was trying to sell insurance and he just became a nice guy towards the end of it. Oh, this is fun. Yeah, come back next year.
Are you a renter or a buyer? Because I can help you out with either one.
Oh, that was funny. That's what kind of made it for me. And you know what else makes me really laugh is these battle scenes were played by the stunt coordinator in this was Paul Amata. I think his name. Like
Jeff Amata.
Amata. I mean,
I was going to say, I wrote out a good bit of stuff. I really think that he should get a massive credit on this one.
Because he's done Furious 7, the Total Recall remake, Iron Man 2, Tropic Thunder, Bourne Ultimatum, Daredevil, Little Nicky, Fight Club, Blade, Escape from LA, Mortal Kombat, They Live, Big Trouble in Little China. He's done stunts or fight choreography or stunt choreography on all of these films. And he did the stunt coordinating for this movie, and it looks fun, these battles. I like these battles a lot.
I mean, he also started off on Blade Runner.
Wow.
And he went on to do to add to what you said, he went on to do Missing in Action 2, Rambo First Blood Part 2, Pee-wee's Big Adventure, House. We said Big Trouble in Little China, which he actually played 20 different characters in that movie alone. He also did Lethal Weapon, and he was the one who created the epic fight scene from They Live.
Wow. And the Bourne fight, the Krav Maga fight in Bourne,
which is insane. He was a close personal friend of Brandon Lee's, and he was also his stunt advisor. And he has 197 credits to his name as of this recording. But also the Lair advisor, which Lair is supposed to be a takeoff of LARPing, which is live action role play. But the Lair advisor was Adrian Grady, she is a real LARP. Wow. So she wanted to make this as realistic as possible, which really does add to it. So if you have a stunt coordinator who is, beyond phenomenal at what he does, and you have somebody who is a real hardcore LARPer working hand in hand just for these scenes, that's the reason why they look so fantastic. And I love how each one of the Lair people, they look all unique, and you have so many people that put dedication into this. They're not just regular extras that are playing characters in a big crowd shot. These are people who actually do this, and they put a lot of heart and a lot of soul into it, which makes it even more fun for the viewer.
Well, absolutely. And I really enjoyed the fights a lot. And I like that David Wain, initially, I know the script and what he wanted to do was just make fun of it, Lair and LARPing. But then he got to meet everybody, and then he got to spend time there, and he loved it. He just had a great time being there, and that made me happy.
In the commentary, he said at first he thought that he was just going to be kind of like making fun of these guys and like, ha, ha, ha. But then he was like, this is pretty cool. So he wanted to put in that scene where Danny is overdoing it. And then David of Kraken was like, whoa, hey, whoa, relax. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, man. I was just getting into it. He's like, yeah, I know. It's fun, isn't it? Why don't you give me your email? You'll come. We can train for next year. But the Lair stands for Live Action Interactive Role Playing Explorer. So because they didn't want anyone to like directly think that they were mocking LARPing.
And I don't think they were. And I think they're pretty kind to it. I know in the beginning he's being a brat, but I think in the end everyone sort of digs it and has fun with it.
It is fun. I myself am not a LARPer, but I do go to the Renaissance festivals, and I think it's just really neat that you see these people that dedicate so much to these characters and their roles. And some of these people get so much into it that they will talk like the people that talk of the time that they are supposed to be representing, and they'll do references to things. And I think it's really cool.
If you invited me, you're like, Mark, I got an opening. We got this LARPing thing this weekend. I'm part of Beans and Coffeeopia. We need to battle. And Mark, I got you. Like, what kind of weapon do you want? I have all these fake things. Come help me out in this battle. I'd be there in an instant.
Oh, man. I would expect you to be bringing the chili.
I gotta bring the crock pot. Well, I'll bring a Jenny and a crock pot. But it looks like fun. And when they showed up as Kisanthia, that just made me so happy watching them go into battle and just sort of love it. And there's a scene where David of Glen Kraken, I love that name, wipes out about 5 people with because he's a brick shithouse. And I don't know what a brick shithouse is, but I like what David Wain said there. Yeah. But I like that. He wiped out pretty good people with nice choreography. They learned that, and it wasn't an insult. These guys were actually really good at it. Well, you know what? I think that's what makes it better, is it wasn't a bunch of dummies swinging swords at each other making fun of them. These guys knew actual techniques, and they knew actual battles. So I think that made it more likable that they weren't making fun of that material.
And Ken Jeong, he spent literally hours every day talking with Adrian about how he should